The Slate Material Editor uses nodes and wiring to graphically display the structure of materials that you design. It is more versatile than the compact material editor that you may be used to. You can call up the Slate Material Editor by clicking its icon on the main toolbar. This icon is also a flyout, and you can choose between the Slate and the compact material editors. The main elements of the Slate interface are the Material Map browser on the left, the active view where you design material structures, and the parameter editor on the right. There is also a navigator window and navigation tools in the bottom right corner, although using the mouse wheel to pan and zoom remains arguably the easiest way to navigate. You can float or dock any window with the Slate Material Editor. Overlay arrows help you decide where you want to dock a floating window. A double click on the Windows toolbar docks it back to its last known position. The Material Map browser contains rollouts from which you can drag any node onto the viewing area. The number of choices available also depends on which renderer you are using. For example, using the scanline renderer, only standard materials and maps are displayed. When using the mental ray renderer, more options are available that include mental ray materials and maps and meta-SL shaders. The number of node choices can be overwhelming, especially if you are not planning to use most of them. Using the Slate Material Editor, you can create your own groups and populate them with only the materials and maps that you use regularly. Click the Material Map Browser Options button and choose New Group. Give the group a name and click OK. The new group appears at the top of the browser. Start dragging the options that you use regularly. For this example, we'll keep it simple, using only the standard and the Arc and Design materials, and the bitmap, checker, and noise maps. Once you have populated your group, you can collapse all others that you seldom use. Creating a material structure is easy and requires mostly click and drag functionality. For example, drag a standard material onto the viewing area. A node with all available channels appears. To edit basic parameters, double-click the node's title area. The parameter editor displays and shows an interface reminiscent of the compact material editor. Notice how the preview on the material node updates with the changes. You can make that preview larger by double-clicking it. Similarly, another double-click restores its original size. To further design the material, drag a bitmap node into the viewer area and select the bitmap of your choice. To connect the bitmap to the diffuse channel of the material, wire the bitmap's output to the material's diffuse channel input. The connection is made and a new node appears to control the bitmap's amount value. This is the same value that you control in the map's rollout of the material. Another way of creating nodes is simply to drag out an input channel into the viewer area. This prompts you to select a group node. You can choose a node type from a group you created or by browsing through other installed options. You can also instance a node to another channel within the same material or between different materials. For example, to share the same bump map among two different materials, you wire the bump map's output to the bump map channel input of the materials. If, on the other hand, you need to copy a node, so you can make parameter changes to the copy, then you can shift-drag a node. This creates an independent copy of the node, and you can now make individual changes and wire the node to other channels. To assign a material to a scene object, you make sure the material parameters are displayed and that an object or more are selected in the scene. You can then use the Assign Material to Selection icon on the Slate Editor's main toolbar. An easier method is to simply drag the material's output node onto a scene object. In some cases, you can use the Show Map in Viewport icon to have better feedback of what the material looks like. This can be done at a material or at a map level. Another helpful tool is the Layout tool that rearranges the nodes when the structure becomes complex. Finally, the Sample Slots rollout enables you to sync your materials between the Slate and the Compact Material editors. This can be useful if you are planning to switch back and forth between the two modes. Notice at this time that we have two materials designed in the Slate editor, but they do not yet appear in the Compact editor. To sync between the two, drag a material output node to one of the sample slots as an instance. Switch to the Compact editor to view the results. If the sample slot doesn't refresh, use the mouse wheel to orbit around the sphere. Now the material is available in both editors.